Hi, today Ask F5 shows you how to load balance Lightweight Directory Access Protocol Secure, or LDAPS, on a big IP system in an SSL pass-through configuration using the configuration utility. This demo shows you how to configure the big IP system to load balance LDAPS traffic to a pool of backend servers in an SSL pass-through configuration. In this configuration, the big IP system forwards encrypted LDAPS traffic to the backend LDAPS servers without decryption. This type of configuration is preferable when you do not want the big IP system to inspect or modify encrypted traffic, but simply load balance it to a pool of destination LDAPS servers for processing. When configuring the big IP system for pass-through, you are not required to configure a client SSL or server SSL profile because the virtual server does not decrypt or encrypt the LDAPS traffic. To load balance LDAPS traffic on a big IP system, you will configure a persistence profile, an LDAPS health monitor, an LDAPS server pool, and a virtual server for LDAPS. Note, ensure that you include the fully qualified domain name or FQDN of the virtual server in the server's SSL certificate installed on each LDAPS server in your pool. First, configure the persistence profile that the LDAPS virtual server will use. To do so, log into the configuration utility. Go to Local Traffic, Profiles, Persistence, and select Create. Enter a name for the new persistence profile. For persistence type, select an appropriate type from the list. For example, you can create a persistence profile using the source address affinity parent. Configure any remaining settings as needed for your environment, and then select Finished. Next, create a health monitor to check the status of your LDAPS servers. To do so, log into the configuration utility if needed, and then go to Local Traffic, Monitors, and select Create. Enter a name for the new monitor. For type, select LDAP. For security, select either TLS or SSL as appropriate for your configuration. Note, there is currently no option within the LDAP monitor to specify an SSL profile or define client or server certificate authentication. Configure any remaining settings that apply to the LDAPS service you want to monitor, and then select Finished. Now create the LDAPS server pool that the virtual server will use to distribute traffic. To do so, log into the configuration utility if needed. Go to Local Traffic, Pools, Pool List, and select Create. Enter a name for the pool. For health monitors, in the available list, select the LDAPS monitor you created in the previous procedure and move it to active. For node name, enter a name for the new node. For address, enter the IP address of the new node. For service port, enter port 636, the LDAPS port. Select Add to add the node to the pool. Repeat these steps for any additional nodes. Then configure any remaining settings as needed, and then select Finished. Finally, create a virtual server that will receive LDAPS traffic and load balance it to the server pool. To do so, log into the configuration utility if needed. Go to Local Traffic, Virtual Servers, Virtual Server List, and select Create. Enter a name for the virtual server. For source address, enter the IP address or network from which the clients will connect. For destination address mask, enter the virtual server IP address that the clients will use for LDAPS. For service port, enter port 636 for the LDAPS server. Under Resources, for default pool, select the LDAPS server pool you created earlier. For default persistence profile, select the persistence profile you created earlier. Configure any remaining settings as needed for your environment, and then select Finished. That's it. If you have any questions, please send us an email. Thanks for watching.